Well, hello, my little jars of mayonnaise. This is PWT Talks NXT, talking about NXT Homecoming, hence why I used that from about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the jars of mayonnaise. We haven't brought that back in a long, long time. If you know what I'm talking about, I appreciate you sticking around for that long. I'm Nate Lindberg. I'm a host of the show. You can check the things I do out at natelindberg.com. And filling in for Kelly Wells tonight is David Miller. David, thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome. I'm sort of filling in, and you're
Yeah.
doing a lot of filling in for me because my power decided to go off as soon as the show started. So I caught the last match, but so you're gonna fill me in on a little bit, but
That's quite
fill
all
in the
right.
blanks, and I'll do what I can on my part.
We'll do that. We'll do that. So I think because of that, what we're going to do, usually we start with the main event. What I think I'm going to do tonight is we're just going to start top to bottom. And we'll just talk about the show top to bottom and kind of go from there. So with that, let me grab my notes. The show opened tonight with one of my absolute favorite songs of all time, Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria, leading off a video package welcoming NXT home to Full Sail University, where they filmed quite a few of their episodes in the pre-COVID days. I think they said 400 episodes are filmed at Full Sail roughly throughout the course of the night. But excellent video package to open the night, just showcasing, NXT's history through Full Sail University. They showed a whole bunch of former NXT stars that have now made the main roster, as well as some interesting choices, like James Storm was in that video package, who was in NXT for like a cup of coffee. There was the Iconics, I think that the Inspiration now, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yeah.
TNA. And there were a few others as well that were scattered in there that I remember kind of like, whoa, I can't believe they're in there now. I don't remember who they are because I didn't write them down. But it was, cool video package, kind of, showcasing like the history of NXT. And then they cut to Triple H making his way down to the ring, coming out to his King of Kings theme, which I feel like the last few times he's come out, or most of the times he's come out lately, we hear his other theme, like,
The game.
oh God, the game. Yeah, thank you. I'm like, wow, I can't think of the words, the game. That's crazy thinking about Triple H. He comes down to the ring and basically I feel like this promo was from the heart. It didn't feel overly scripted. I mean, obviously, he had things he wanted to say and hit, but you could almost kind of feel the emotion in his voice talking about NXT and what he built there. And I thought that was really cool. Just kind of a really cool way to start the show. Definitely WWE coming out and touting all of the accolades that they've got, and all the things that they've built and stuff. So it certainly had that aura around it, but still, I thought it was a nice promo to start the show. A few minutes into that, we hear Shawn Michaels make his way out. Before actually, when Triple H came out, he went to say something about every man and woman that has walked through that curtain, and he stopped himself and he said video board, because there isn't a curtain there. When Shawn Michaels came out, he joked about it, saying that he just walked out through the video board, which is kind of funny because you could tell Triple H actually said it. He like stumbled over his words in his first in the opening promo there. But Shawn Michaels comes out and kind of also same thing, touts a little bit about the history of NXT, what they've done, what they've built, and Triple H pats Shawn on the back, for what he's done since Triple H has left, and then gets a little interesting because Triple H goes, "Well, what if I want to come back?" And the crowd's like, "Ooh." Shawn Michaels, he's like, well, if you wanted to come back, we'd have a big problem. And they step nose to nose. And I don't know what they were going for there. I mean, a little bit of just, I guess, fun tension or something. As soon as that happens, we've got William Regal's music hits. And you can't have NXT Homecoming without William Regal. I don't know if actually at this point he may not be the longest reigning GM in NXT history now that I think about it, but he's my favorite GM in NXT history. We'll put it that way. And he's like, I know one way to solve this. And of course the crowd shouts, War Games! And then he goes, hey, that's my line. And he's like, we're going to edit that out, and kind of laughs and screams War Games as a joke. And that was kind of how that segment ended, because immediately after that, Charlotte's music hits, and then Alexa's music hits, and the two of them make their way to the ring. They make their way out to the stage. And before they go to the ring for their match, they stand with with William Regal on the stage, and talk about how the women have always ruled NXT, and touted the women's division throughout the history of NXT, how it's always been strong, with maybe that little exception of a little piece of time, beginning of NXT 2.0, but we don't talk about that. How the women's division's always been strong in NXT, huge reaction from the crowd, and both Alexa and Charlotte then make their way to the ring for their match. I thought this was a really good way to open the show. Not only was it one of my all-time favorite songs, "Welcome Home" by Coheed, that kicked off the show, but we all after Alexa and Charlotte made their way to the ring, they cut to the Roar of the Crowd show opener. So it was the I don't know if it was the original NXT, but it was probably the most iconic NXT theme song, Roar of the Crowd. And they then used kind of the old video opener with all updated stars. So it was kind of just a really cool, nostalgic intro before we went into our first match tonight, Charlotte and Alexa. Like I said, I really liked this. It was certainly nostalgia, fan service, WWE touting how awesome they are, but I thought it was still pretty good. David, obviously you didn't see it, but what are your thoughts on what I have said so far?
I mean, that sounds great. And I did catch up a little bit when my power did come back on with ProWrestling.net on their end there to kind of see what happened. And I never even thought about William Regal. That was so cool. It's just, it's been so far removed from that era. And I'd forgotten what it looked like at Full Sail University. So that was really cool. It sounded like a great opening segment. Triple H obviously is integral in the especially the early success of NXT and making it the brand to watch, even above, for me, Raw and SmackDown, because they consistently put on the most exciting matches. They consistently had the most exciting PLEs. And you knew when you were going to get an NXT show in the Triple H era, you knew that it was going to be a great show from start to finish. It always was. He had his finger on the pulse of the crowd. He knew what people wanted, and he delivered it. And again, let's forget about that little Rainbow 2.0 era, because let's just not talk about that. It continues to this day with that with that little hiccup there they had in the middle, but. Shawn Michaels is carrying that on, and they're doing a fantastic job. So I think the homecoming thing was a great idea. Sounded like a great way to open the show. You know that whenever Triple H and Shawn Michaels get in the ring together, they can't help but do a little Abbott and Costello routine there of some sort. Some kind of joking around. So it sounded like a great way to open the show. Perfect way.
I don't know. Third base. If you get that, I love you. Abbott and Costello, who's on first?
Yep.
It was. I actually have a cassette tape with the entire radio episode of Abbott and Costello where Who's on First debuted. So it's the entire radio show.
Oh wow!
Complete with all of the Camel cigarette commercials. More doctors smoke Camel than any cigarette.
I have the Sherlock Holmes with the Petri wine commercials. So
yes. Yep. But no, like yeah. So anyway, that was the opening of the show tonight. Like I said, I thought this was great. You know, and as you said, NXT has always been it's been my favorite brand since about 2016 that WWE has had. You know, I first started this show in God 2019. I can't believe it's been that long. But I mean, we're watching NXT religiously since 2016, and so this whole entire night was just really cool for me. For I guess you know for all of us, you know, I know somebody. I think it was. Oh man, I already put the comment up, but I can't remember where it is and who said it. But I think it was Sean. I don't know. Man, I forget. I can't find the thing I'm looking for, but it was just really cool to be back at Full Sail. I think it was Sean that said it, but I can't find it now. So whatever.
Someone
But
said it.
somebody said it. Somebody said it. Just really
Yeah.
cool to be back at Full Sail. That building, I feel like it holds. I don't know. It looked emptier because obviously they don't have like the video screens and stuff behind the crowd. But it kind of gave me more of that old black and gold feel. I
Yeah.
know Steve in the chat said that he was hoping it looked more like I was hoping for Full Sail to look more like the original black and gold set, and yeah, I kind of did too. But I really liked this set. It was still minimal, and kind of I think still fit the night. It was minimal, but it was also more than what NX like the original black and gold had. Kind of give it a bit of a more of a special feel, I guess. But still, I still liked the look of the show tonight. Kind of, you know, a little bit of an emptier building, but it still looked. It almost looked like my old black and gold.
Mhm.
You know, it was good.
Now, if
Um,
they just could have had Mauro Ronaldo on there, that would have been.
oh yeah, I would.
Mm,
I'd love for Morrow to come back to NXT or WWE in general, but I
yeah.
understand why he doesn't. A lot of travel, and
Yeah.
his with his bipolar disorder, that travel is just not really feasible, like that. So I get it, but
Is what it is. But yeah, that was that. But yeah, it was. I think they had more than enough, throwbacks tonight, from what I understand, to satisfy, the nostalgia factor.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So we'll go into our second match of the night. As I mentioned, Charlotte and Alexa made their way to the ring. The current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions coming out to defend their titles against the Culling, Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame. This match went, where is it? Um, hold on. Crap, where's my, oh, there it
I
is.
think it was like 10 something, maybe.
The match went 11 minutes and 9 seconds. Um, So I mean, this I thought was it was a fun match for what it was. It was every match tonight and really everything tonight was really just fun fan service. It was just an overall fun show, and not a lot of storylines got moved ahead and things like that. Some did, obviously, and you talk about the NXT and TNA title thing in a little bit and all that. But that's kind of really what this match more was kind of was a showcase of both the kind of like you know the older guard with the newer guard here. We saw the Alexa and Charlotte retain their titles as we figured they would. Um, uh, yeah, again, I thought it was a fun match. Nothing. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about in the match, but yeah, I thought this was cool. The WWE obviously does not have women's tag titles on every brand. It's the only title that kind of floats around all of the brands. So it's cool to see it come down to NXT sometimes because it's kind of treated as a main roster title, even though it's technically not. Um, but so yeah, I anything to I guess talk about there. I know you obviously you didn't see the match, and uh, but
No, I didn't see it, but I expected it would be at least a decent match. Dame and Paxley, I think, have been doing a good job gelling together here lately. I like that combination, And I absolutely love the combination of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Alexa has brought out something in Charlotte that was very, very much needed. And we were all wondering, how can Charlotte turn this around and actually, get back to getting cheered? Well, hey, I guess they found the right answer because and it's fun to see the little TikToks that they do together and things like that. It seems like Charlotte and Alexa are genuinely having fun with
Yeah.
each other out there. They're genuinely having fun. You can tell that they're having a blast out there. So, and of course, both of them, NXT alumni. So I'm sure that the fans were glad to see them back. And I like the idea of the roving championship. Some people I've seen said, well, maybe NXT has the talent to have their own tag team championship, and they do. But I like the idea of the roving titles being able to be defended on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. We've got. I think there are plenty of titles at this point. I don't think we need to add any more. We've got women's. Now we got the speed titles thrown in there too. It's like, okay, let's not go full AEW here and have a title for every other wrestler here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the match. I'm sure that was a good way to open the show with the tag titles online. No surprise for the outcome, but good to see it defended on NXT.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, and I agree with you. I think Charlotte and Alexa, they're having a ton of fun with this, and you can just tell. I mean, they're obviously good friends, and they're just really enjoying doing what they're doing. Great to see them come down to NXT, and Charlotte, as somebody pointed out, I think it was Sean pointed out in the chat. Charlotte was the first one to maybe it was Ryan, I'm not sure. Somebody said it that Charlotte was the first of it was Steve Repsher. Wow, it wasn't either one. Charlotte
Mm-hmm.
was one of the first of many to dust off old entrance music. And that was a really big thing tonight with a lot of the older NXT talent, or I say NXT alumni, not older NXT talent, NXT alumni. Let's be let's be better than that, Nate. Um, so, yeah, Alexa, she, as far as I'm aware, it was her current music, from what I remember anyway. But Charlotte dusted off some old music there, as they did, like I said, throughout the course of the night. This, like I said, it was good. It was a good match. Some good crowd service, and I think this also says, there are quite a few different women that may have been able to be put in this spot. And obviously the culling is probably one of the more prominent teams with the a couple women in it right now. I can think of really anyway, other than like Fatal Influence and things. But I think this says something for the culling, for Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley that you to go up. They basically have the confidence in them to go up against Charlotte and Alexa for the titles. So hopefully we see big things from them in the future. So I really like both of them. I especially Tatum. Between the two, I gravitate towards her a little bit more. But I think both of them are doing great with what they've got right now. I enjoy what they're doing in the culling. So yeah,
It's working. It's
yeah, it's
definitely
definitely
working.
working. Definitely working. Um, I, I, the culling isn't necessarily great, but I think it's working for both Izzy and Tatum, just giving them something to do. As Sean says, culling isn't great, but Tatum's the best of the group, and I completely agree with that,
Me too.
100%. Matter of fact, I forgot about Nico Vance until they actually said his name on air tonight. So that should tell you everything you need to know
The
about the
guys
culling.
haven't done anything lately except show up at ringside and get beat up by Solruk and Zarya.
Yeah.
Which that's good. I mean, the culling as a faction does not really interest me, but the team of Paxley and Dame do.
Speaking of Zarya and Solruka, our very next segment featured Zarya and Solruka backstage bickering about Soul hitting the Soul Snatcher on Zarya last week by accident. Zarya's like, "You're one of the most talented." I forget exactly what she says, so I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, "You're one of the most talented people in the locker room, and you tell me you couldn't have moved out of the way fast enough to not hit me with the Soul Snatcher." And I thought that was such a great line because, I mean, how many times do we see, the babyface team, one person accidentally hits the other with this kind of very convenient setup. Where one accidentally, the heel ducks and the one babyface hits the other, which again, what happened with Solruka and Zarya last week. So I like the fact that she kind of called it out because I don't know, every time I see it, I mentally call it out. We had Lainey Reed and Candice LeRae walk in and kind of stirred the pot, talking about how they won and they're progressing through the speed tournament. Shayna Baszler walked in, so another NXT alumni. And wait a minute, now that I think about it, is Shayna even signed?
No,
Didn't she got
no,
released?
that's what surprised me when I saw that, when I read that on ProWrestling.net. It's like that was the last person I expected to
Yeah,
see there because
like
she had been released. So
it didn't even occur to me until I was just talking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, Shayna was on the show and she doesn't belong there anymore.
yeah, she's been making the rounds on social media about her release from WWE,
Oh,
and so
I guess
I don't
she's a
know.
producer now, I guess.
Oh well,
Because
okay,
Goodfella said it, and as Goodfella said it, Jobin pinged me on Discord to be like, producer. I'm like, oh, I actually didn't realize that. That's awesome.
good,
Um, yeah.
good for her.
Um, so Shayna Baszler shows up. She kind of shut everybody down, told everybody, it basically told Soul and Zarya, like, they've got a good thing, make up. You kind of played babyface there. I think it was a good segment. Not really much to talk about there, obviously, other than Shayna Baszler. A little dissension maybe, perhaps, between Zarya and Sol Ruka. Do you think? Do you think maybe we'll, now, especially now that we know she's a producer? Because, like I said, I didn't actually realize that. Do you think maybe we'll see her a little bit more in NXT, or you think this is kind of a one-off for her?
I would imagine probably more of a one-off.
Yeah, me too.
Because you know, she was a recognizable face to kind of parade out for the show for the nostalgia factor. Like I said, I was shocked when I read that she showed up. I had no idea that she was back with them in any capacity whatsoever. But I'm sure she'll make a great producer. She's definitely an asset. She knows what she's doing in there. She's one of the few women in my mind to transition from MMA to professional wrestling and be able to get it. There are a few others, obviously, but she is definitely one of them, I think. So I'm glad to see she's back with the company. As far as the Sorukasari situation goes, I thought they had kind of forgotten about that. They hadn't teased that dissension for a while, and then they did it, last week with that move. Which that I got to admit, that was slick. How they pulled that off with Ruka hitting Zarya with the Soul Snatcher. That was super slick. I mean, that was flawless in its execution because that's not a move that you can just you know
Yeah,
necessarily. I mean, that's a precision move. You have to be in exactly the right spot to be able to take that move. So the fact that they were able to get Paxley out of the way and Zarya in place for that, while basically, and there's no way Ruka could have seen because she's facing the opposite direction when she goes up for the Soul Snatcher. So that was flawlessly executed. I don't know if this. I would prefer really not to see the breakup. I do think they're very different people. It's kind of again, I've said this before. It's almost like a uh, you know, like Kane and Daniel Bryan type pairing there
yep,
with the two of them. But it worked. I didn't care for it at first, but it works now. I think it really works. Um, yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I prefer that they not go that direction, but if they want to, they could. I mean, it could work. Zarya could be a monster heel if they let her be. So we'll see where that goes from here. But yeah, I think that's just a one-off for Shayna. Don't really expect to see her face on camera very much.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I think it's more of a one-off, but I was trying to think of a good transition question. It was the first thing that came to my mind. Uh, Brock agreed. Brock kind of on the same page as you says, is Zarya going to crush Soul and become a monster heel? We'll see. So I'm I'm so torn on this because I'm kind of like with you. I did not really care for Solruka and Zarya at first because I'm like, Zarya should be this monster heel. Like she came in with all this fanfare and all this stuff, but obviously she kind of was third or fourth place to Julia Jordan
And I
Grace.
must say too, not to interrupt you, but she's got the best entrance video for a monster heel too. That entrance video
Oh
is
God,
just
yeah,
killer.
yeah,
Love it.
she really does. I think it's probably one of the better entrance like videos in the company,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
But yeah, like I really thought like she was going to be this monster heel at first, and they partner with Soul, and she was kind of more of like a, I don't say comedy act, but it kind of felt like it at sometimes and whatever. But it has started working, and I really like Soul Ruka and Zarya together. But on the other hand, I think especially in the company's eyes, and this is just speculation, but Soruka, I think they see her as like a singles competitor. Obviously, she's holding two belts right now. Both of them are singles titles. She's done a bunch of different special events and special shows. She showed up in the Royal Rumble, things like that. I'm assuming they have big ideas, big plans for her once she gets called up. And I'm wondering if maybe, this maybe Solruka and Zarya, they wind up kind of, splitting up, and she wins the North American title off of her. Somebody else wins the speed title in the tournament. Maybe Sol gets called up. Again, total speculation, but maybe that's kind of why they're moving in this direction with both the speed tournament and this kind of tension between the two of them.
I could go along with that direction completely.
Yeah.
I think that would be good because Soul Ruka, she's definitely ready for the main roster.
Oh God, yeah.
She is. She has again. I say it over and over, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but she has that it factor. She's got the personality, she's got the look, and her athleticism is just through the ceiling. I mean, again, and I never, every time I see her do the Soul Snatcher, I have to back it up and like,
Yeah.
how in the blue heck does she perform that? It's just one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And so, but yeah, if they wanted to go that route, they could make Zarya definitely a monster heel. She could be a killer for sure. So that would be I think that would be the way to go with that. If they want to break them up, I do think Sol Ruka is best as a singles wrestler. But like you said, I do. I'm digging Zaruka. I like the team. We'll see where they go. I could accept either direction here.
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. In the chat, Sean says to shout out for Jason Powell from ProWrestling.net. Check out his stuff if you haven't. And I'm going to shout out ProWrestling.net tonight because where we had some issues, we weren't able to get a live report up tonight. Where I'm kind of going off of ProWrestling.net's report. So we're shouting out to our friends over ProWrestling.net. So yeah, thanks, Jason.
Yep.
And
Thank you guys. Appreciate you, Jason. Yeah, thanks for because my Rochester Gas and Electric, they're I guess I maybe the hamster that runs on the like little wheel that powers the electricity around this place must have gotten tired and fallen off or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Hey, no worries, man. Like I said, stuff happens. Stuff happens.
Yeah. So definitely shout out to ProWrestling.net. Thanks for
yes, indeed.
Listening here.
All right, so our next segment. So speaking of some dissension and tension in the ranks, our second match of the night: Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes versus DIY. So went about 10 minutes and 39 seconds. Um, both both members of DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, came out separately, but to their old entrance music, as they did the last time. The last couple times they've come out on NXT over the last few weeks. Huge pop from the crowd for both of those themes, and they're legit two of my like favorite NXT themes, like probably ever. So like I have them both on like my main playlist on Spotify. I'm gonna throw that. Just saying, and I don't have many wrestling. Like actually, I don't think I have any other wrestling songs on my main Spotify playlist. But they're
You don't
there.
have
They are there.
you don't have With My Baby Tonight?
No, that's that actually no, I do. No, I really don't. Um, it,
Sorry for bringing
yeah.
back that memory.
All I can think of is Bruce Pritchard singing it from his podcast right now. But anyway, so Trick and Mello, they kind of teased some tension, some dissension themselves throughout the course of the match. There was a couple moments where they'd look at each other and they like there was a moment where like they looked at each other, both of them kind of smiled and like gave each other, yeah, like we're doing this, and then Mello turns around and Trick Williams' face just gets super serious for a moment. It looks like Trick's about to turn on Mello, and then he runs like full bore at Mello. Mello ducks, and he hits a fly. He being Trick hits a flying lariat over Mello into Ciampa, and so it kind of teased that like, oh, is he gonna again? Is the one tag team partner gonna hit the other one? Except this one it looked like it was gonna be like intentional, and instead they missed hit Ciampa. And so kind of a few moments like that throughout the course of the match, but we didn't actually see any major split between the two of them. This DIY almost wound up winning with the meet in the middle, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Carmelo's main roster partner Miz comes out. Mello don't Miz, and Miz hit the skull crushing finale on. I think it was Gargano. I think it was Gargano out on the side, rolled him in and allowed Trick and Mello to get the win. This, like I said, I think this was a pretty cool. This was a really cool, really good match. Solid tag team match. Two amazing teams. DIY is they're my guys anyway. But I mean, Trick and Mello, good to see them again. After a couple years of tagging in NXT, good to see them kind of get back together for a little bit, especially with Trick kind of being on maybe the same page as Mello was when he left in terms of popularity and stardom. Obviously, Mello was more of a babyface at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and Trick playing heel, but still very over with the crowd. So like I said, I think this was great. I loved everything about this except for maybe the Miz interference. I could have taken or leave that, but at least it protected DIY, and all of that. So I dug it. I know you didn't see it, but your thoughts?
It's interesting seeing Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams back together in that capacity because I remember back in the day when Carmelo Hayes was the star and Trick Williams was the lackey there. He was just the tag along. And now it seems to me like Trick is actually on a level above Carmelo as far as I'm concerned because of again Carmelo went to the main pardon me went to the main roster and immediately like the very first night was beaten by Cody Rhodes. And then he just floundered and was essentially seemed like they were treating him like enhancement talent for the longest time. Now he's in this storyline with Miz, which and again Miz is the Miz is fantastic. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he is very underrated. He knows how to be a heel And yeah, Goodfellow is right. Miz has done it all. He may be mid card, but yeah, best mid card of all time. He's been to the top. He's been in the middle. He's been everywhere. He knows what he's doing. He knows his way around the ring, and I think this situation with the interference tonight. I can definitely see it because he's trying to he's trying to get into Mello's head that hey we're a team, we stick together. He was upset over Mello asking for that I believe it's a U.S. title match there, and trying to keep them together as a team. So I can definitely go along with that. DIY, I'm with you. Just one of my all-time favorite teams, and in today's era of WWE, there are not too many real tag teams. I come, and not to give away my age, but I guess I already have in the past here. I come from an era where of tag teams like I grew up on the Fabulous Ones and the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express and the Nightmares and the Galaxians, the Grapplers, the interns, all these teams. So Gargano and Ciampa, even though they had singles runs, they are a great tag team. They are a great tag team, and glad to see them get back in NXT. And I can't think of any better opponents than Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. So that I'm sure that was a great match while it lasted.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I'd say honestly, it's worth going back and watching the show. Well, actually, I think you're going to be doing that anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly worth it. Just great nostalgia, good matches, a lot of fun on everything tonight. Um, let's move on. So we had Kelly Kincaid interviewing Sami Zayn backstage, who's super hyped up to be back in NXT. Basically said it was very emotional for him walking through the hallways and kind of stepping back into the building where he won his NXT championship. Which his first title in WWE period. So it was kind of an emotional moment for Sami Zayn. And he says that somebody on the brand reminds him of himself, and that was Javon Evans. Javon Evans kind of conveniently was nearby and walked over. Actually, no, sorry. Josh Briggs showed up first and called Evans a bum to Sami Zayn's face. That's right. And then Javon Evans attacks. Sami Zayn and some officials tried to break everything up. Security was able to kind of drag Briggs away. Sami Zayn gets Javon Evans and brings him aside. And Sami Zayn, he's like, look, you remind me a lot of me. You've got a lot of heart. Things didn't come easy. Things don't come easy for guys like us. We got to work at it. But the sky's the limit for you. And they did a quick little handshake thing and walked off. So I think this is a cool segment to get Sami Zayn involved in NXT Homecoming. She was a big name in NXT for a little while anyway before coming up to the main roster. Obviously kind of giving yet another nod and rub to Javon Evans. He's already got one from The Undertaker and a few other people, but they really see something in that kid. So do we, so do I, for that matter. Like that.
Yeah.
I think I've said those exact words on this show. The sky is the limit for Javon Evans. So I thought this was cool, just to kind of give him a little bit of a rub. What are your thoughts on this segment?
Yeah. Speaking of, I mean, there is no limit for him because he's the sky being the limit. Yeah, he's in the sky for half of his match. I swear to God.
That's a good point.
The kids, tights are filled with helium. I've never seen anyone get such hang time on just last week, that dive onto Josh Briggs. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, he looks like he was shot out of a cannon. And it's just, yeah, I've really, Javon Evans, I know I've criticized his mic skills in the past. He is getting better he's getting better on the mic, but my God, the guy is phenomenal in the ring. He is absolutely phenomenal, and yeah, he is definitely going places in WWE. And yeah, it's cool seeing Sami Zayn, someone who kind of along the same lines, underdog. Sami Zayn has always played the underdog, and that's the role he's good at. Javon Evans is in the same boat, so I think that was a good choice of someone to include in that segment with Javon, giving him a little pep talk and a little bit of rub there. So yeah, I'm great with that.
All right, our next match of the night, our third match of the night, Ethan Page versus Tyler Breeze for the North American Championship, 10 minutes and 38 seconds. Tyler Breeze did his whole full, nostalgic entrance with the selfie stick and all of that. Ethan Page, mocked him throughout the whole entrance and all of that too, which was kind of fun. Um, uh, this was, I think this was. I don't know if I want to say it was my favorite match of the night, but it certainly ranked up there. I love Tyler Breeze. Like I know he's producing and things like that now for WWE. I really wish he had like another run in him because I think this proved that he can still obviously go and things like that. The crowd was definitely into seeing him again. A lot of near falls here. Breeze ends up hitting the beauty shot. Couldn't quite bring him down. Him being Ethan Page. Page ended up retaining with the twisted grin. So Page is still the champion, but I think Tyler Breeze definitely gave him a run for his money here tonight. So I mean, again, your thoughts, Ethan Page, Tyler Breeze, and kind of the North American title scene in general right now.
I did not realize that Tyler Breeze again was still with WWE. I thought he had been
Oh yeah,
released. So
he did. He was released during, and I think it was a while back during. I think it might have been during the COVID round of layoffs, or maybe shortly thereafter. So I remember Xavier Woods being very upset about it because he lost his up down down partner, or one of people on up down down. I shouldn't say partner, but they brought him back shortly thereafter, but more in a producer capacity.
okay, well, I mean, I like Tyler Breeze. Yeah, also he's fun to watch. Yeah, he can definitely go. I didn't really know where they were going with this as far as bringing him back. If I mean, it appears that quite possibly it could be just a one-off, just to get him pop out of the crowd. If so, perfectly acceptable. Um, I honestly do not know who's going to dethrone Ethan Page at this point. I think he's been, and again, Ethan Page, he is what I consider just, going back to Miz, knowing how to be a heel. Ethan Page knows how to be a heel.
Oh yeah.
And I'm from the old school of where heels got booed, baby faces got cheered. You don't, this cool heel thing that was ushered in by the NWO back in the day, where they got cheered and all this stuff. Yeah, it goes back to to me, it's like I don't know if you've ever seen it. If you've not, I'd highly recommend seeing the documentary Memphis Heat.
I have
Uh,
not.
that, oh, definitely, I definitely recommend that. It opens up with Bill Dundee talking about guys these days they don't know what heat is. Said you go out there after the show, your tires are slashed. Get burnt with cigarettes. Lit cigarettes. You get stuff like this, and that's the kind of heat that Ethan Page gets. You do not. There's nothing that he does that makes you want to cheer for him. He is cowardly. He is, he's sneaky. He's definitely snarky. I mean, the guy's got a mouth on him that just doesn't end. And you want to see someone just punch him in the face repeatedly. Um, I love Ethan Page as North American champion. I'm sure it's fun seeing Tyler Breeze back in there again. I'm anxious to see the match. Like you said, I'm a big Tyler Breeze fan too. Glad to see he is in WWE in some capacity. I think he has a lot to offer. So, yeah, good. Obviously, not anything that's going to start a feud or any kind of an angle, but good one-off match.
Indeed, no, indeed. I think I think our so Ethan Page, he's still the champion, but I don't think this was the end of the North American title scene for the night. I think the person that may wind up dethroning Ethan Page might be the person in the next segment, Tavion Heights. Um, Tavion Heights, he was shown kind of sulking around backstage after some losses and things like that recently. Damian Priest showed up and kind of gave him a bit of a pep talk, gave a little bit of encouragement. And Priest told him that he's getting a shot at Ethan Page. Um, I'm thinking he being Tavion Heights may wind up winning that match. Um, American versus Canada. They're leaning really hard in Ethan Page being Canadian. Especially with the new strap on the title, and all of that. Tavion obviously being an Olympian. So I think that makes sense. And I'm wondering if that is going to be Ethan Page's call up. Maybe he spends a little bit more time in NXT, but goes up in a couple months or something like that. But I know WWE is super high on him. I was reading something that the network is also really high on him, CW, and they want more of him. So maybe that is a reason for him to stay on NXT. I'm not sure, but I mean he is, as far as I'm concerned, like just ready for the main roster. As David was saying, I mean he knows how to be a heel very, very, very well. He can get under your skin. Yeah, he just comes across like that sniveling asshole, for lack of a better term, but he does it so well where you don't want to boo him. Like he's so good, you want to like so good at being a bad guy, you want to cheer him. So I'm kind of thinking that might be it, but yeah. So Damian Priest, he sets Ethan Page up, for or helps set Ethan Page up for a title shot here. And yeah, what are your thoughts on Tavion maybe potentially taking it off of Ethan Page?
Don't mind seeing Tavion with a belt. I don't see him as a long. I wouldn't see him as a long-term champion. I think he definitely has the in-ring skills. I wish they would. And don't get me wrong. I think Ethan Page redoing the North American title with a maple leaf on there. I think that's funny. I think it's hilarious. I think it fits his persona, and I don't mind him. The whole Canadian thing. That's fine. It's fine. But the whole the Canada versus USA thing, I can seriously do without that. I
Yeah.
just hope they don't. I mean, I hope they took that tag team match that they held recently to heart, where the heels were obviously getting the cheers. This is not 1985 anymore. I think that's a gimmick that should have died with Hacksaw Duggan's retirement match. The whole, I mean, when's the last time we were in a war with Canada, for crying out loud? Come
I
on.
mean, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
It just, yeah, I don't care for that idea. It doesn't stir, and I'm a veteran, okay, so it's not a thing about patriotism. Patriotism. It's just I just don't think it works. You can't just throw. They tried throwing the red, white, and blue on Lex Luger. Look how well that turned out.
Yep.
And so you can't just wrap somebody in an American flag and they're gonna get cheered. Let Tavion Heights be Tavion Heights. He's good enough.
Yeah. No,
And he's good enough to continue on his own.
yeah, no, and I agree. Like and maybe it's just the state of the country and my patriotism being very low right now. But like I don't necessarily want to see yet another American hero type gimmick. And I think that's whether or not everything going on in the company. I mean, you've got, I mean, Kurt Angle did it really well. I mean, American Alpha, American Made, Lex Luger, Hulk Hogan. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Heck, The Undertaker especially during the American Badass days,
American Badass, yeah.
or even going back, to when I think it was the Survivor Series when he was on Ted DiBiase's team, and he opens up his jacket, and it's back in I think it was '91, something like that, and he opens up his jacket, and it's or '92, something like that, I forget, but way back when I was still a little kid, he opens up his jacket, and it's the American flag, things like that. So I mean, there's been so many of those American hero characters. I don't know. Do we need another one? I guess it makes sense for Tavion Heights being an Olympian and all of that. Sure. But I'm with you. I don't necessarily think we need another America beats a foreign country feud. But
in the
it's wrestling.
in the first place, yeah. I mean, this is, and again, back in the mid '70s and late '70s, early '80s, you had the Japanese heels, you had the German heels, you had the Russian heels. That stuff worked. It worked back then. You're not in nowadays. It's kind of dangerous to put somebody out there as a Middle Eastern type heel. We've seen how that's not good. That's not what they want right now. Not with the political climate today. Not trying to get into politics at all, but and that's why I think WWE should just stay away from the politics. Let's do away with
Yeah.
the USA versus Canada thing. Let's just not go there right now. Let's focus on something more personal. Let's get like the situation with Lexus King and Miles Bourne.
Yep.
That's gotten personal, and that's what's really getting. That's what is really getting my interest, because that feud has gotten personal, and Miles Bourne has opened up about who he is, and his struggles, his personal struggles, and that makes you feel more empathy for him, and that makes you want to see him slap that painted beard right off of Lex King's face. So Tavion Heights, again, he's got the in-ring talent. If he can find the right persona, he definitely has in-ring talent. The USA thing isn't it. Could he take the title from Page? Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on it, but I mean, it could be a possibility. I just wouldn't see him as a very long-term champion. I'd see him as more of a transitional champion.
Yeah, I personally, so do I. I mean, I think I know I already put the comment. I keep saying this. I put the comment up already, but somebody was saying that, and it might have been Goodfella. Um, oh yeah, it was. Damian was a nice rub for Tavion because Tavion still feels so low on the card, and he does.
Yeah.
He doesn't really feel like a standout to me just yet. And maybe that's, he needs something like North American title to elevate him or whatever. Because clearly the company wants to push him. They're doing a lot with him right now. But yeah, I don't think he's connected with the crowd
He
very
just
well
needs
just yet.
he needs character overall. That's
Yeah.
really all there is to it. He needs to find find out, he needs to find who, let's find out who Tavion Heights is. Let's we've done the whole Olympian thing before. Been there, done that. Let's find out who he is beyond being an Olympian. And I think it was Jim Cornette said that the best character is your own personality with the volume turned up to 10. So let's see who you are, Tavion. Turn that volume up to 10. Let's see who you are.
Yep. 100%. And I'm almost wondering if that's what they're doing, and they're turning it up because, I mean, being an Olympian, like that's what he did. He ate, slept, and breathed wrestling, amateur wrestling, Olympic wrestling. So maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know, but I
That's
don't
part
think
of
it's
it.
working. I
That's
don't think it's
part of
working
it.
either.
But no, yeah, that's part of it. But let's go beyond that, because yeah, what they're doing right now, it's not working. He stepped away from no quarter catch crew. Um, but what are we going to do with him now? stick him in a tag team match with Tyree Steele. Okay, no, that's not going to get him over.
Yep. Not exactly. Um, All right, so let's move on here to the Waller effect. It's the first time Waller effect emanated from Full Sail, as Grayson Waller pointed out, as he started in NXT 2.0 after they had already moved to the Performance Center, or as they were calling the Capital Wrestling Center at the time. Um, when we cut to the segment, Waller, Oba, and Ricky were already in the ring for the Waller effect, and Waller kind of stirred the pot between Oba and Ricky. You're calling Oba rated, and I believe he called Ricky soft or something like that instead of Ricky Saints, um, and kind of. Uh, you asked them who they thought was going to, win the match between the two of them at I think no at No Mercy. No Mercy. It's the
Yeah.
name of that. There's so many shows I can't keep them all straight. But at No Mercy, Trick Williams made his way out to the ring and claims NXT is on fire because of him. He's the hottest act and across two companies and all of that. Waller winds up teasing a title versus title match between Trick and Oba, and surprise, surprise, that actually gets made a match. Trick Williams versus Oba Femi next week, title versus title for the NXT and TNA championships. This set off a string, and I haven't seen this because I deleted my Twitter as I refuse to call it X, and it's a cesspool of stuff now, so I don't go there. But apparently, TNA wrestlers have gone crazy on social media, kind of hyping this up, and basically saying it's not fair. We got two WWE guys fighting over our title, and so I think this might turn into a bit of a storyline, hopefully on TNA TV, maybe bleeds over into NXT. Where TNA, they want to get their belt back, and I'm kind of curious to see what happens here, because one way or another, unless there's some sort of a schmoz finish, which is always a possibility, there's a good possibility we see another double champion in WWE holding two titles across two companies. JC obviously was the first one that did it, but we haven't seen a TNA wrestler win a title over here in WWE just yet. I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm kind of almost thinking that next week is a schmoz and we don't get that historic moment. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. One way or another, though, the winner of that match is supposed to go on to face Ricky Saints at No Mercy for the title. I don't know if I don't think they said it was going to be for both titles, but definitely for the NXT title. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But who do you think kind of gets elevated the most here? Is it Oba? Is it Trick? Is it Ricky? Is it a little bit of everybody?
I think a little bit of every. I'm leaning towards this, and it makes sense for the outrage with the TNA wrestlers. I'm just, wondering if this is not a way for them to come in next week and just, the TNA guys come in and make a statement during this match. I've been a critic here lately of the collaboration being very heavy-handed with WWE bigfooting the TNA wrestlers all over the place here with especially with JC Jane winning the Knockouts title. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Thankfully she lost that to Ash. That's a good thing. But if they really want to go with this, I think the best thing to do would be to have a group of TNA wrestlers, and it doesn't have to be all. It can be a combination of heels and baby faces coming there, kind of like back when they did the Survivor Series, Raw versus Team SmackDown. Have a bunch of TNA guys come in there and just wreck the place. That's what I would do. Have them come in there and just wreck the place, and then hey, we are tired of being overlooked here. You guys are doing, and just come in there and make a statement. I think that's the way I would go with it. But because Trick, with Trick versus Oba, Both of them are super over. I mean, super over. So I really don't, at this point, really don't want to see either one of them get over on the other. And so I would not mind a schmoz finish at the end of that next week at all.
Yeah, and actually, I think it was Steve Repsher in the chat. Ober versus Trick will be a non-finish because we've got title matches coming up and No Mercy and Bound for Glory. So I wasn't thinking about Bound for Glory. I should because I'm going, but yeah, I wasn't thinking about it. So maybe we'll see. We'll see if it ends up being a non-finish or not. But that's that Steve I think makes a good point. And I see what you guys are talking about in the chat here with all these triple threats and stuff. I don't want to see all these triple threats, so I'm just throwing that out there. Bad dog, no biscuit. Oh no, not you, not you. You're a good dog. Anyway, our next segment of the night, we saw Charlie Dempsey, Ren Sinclair backstage, kind of talking a little bit. And Dempsey says that Ren needs to hold down the fort because he needs to. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of like he needs to clear his head. So I'm going to Japan for a month. He didn't say where in Japan. He just says he's going to Japan for a month. So I'm not sure if anybody in the chat might know, but I haven't read anything online. Granted, I haven't the last day or so. I haven't really been keeping up with a whole lot of anything really. But so I haven't seen anything about where Charlie might be going, but I'm assuming probably Pro Wrestling Noah or something like that. Ryan's like, prepare both songs, Nate. I only have one prepared, and you know which one it is. I didn't think to prepare the other one, but that's fine. So yeah, Dempsey says he's going to be going to Japan, and then. I forget exactly how it happened. Let me go back in my notes here. Boom, 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 boom. Where am I? Here we go. Yeah. Ren Sinclair said something about being glorious. Bobby Roode walks in, shows up, and Ren asks him to do the thing, and he kind of just did this, put his arms out to the side, and then you hear the glorious come up over, hear that sound, hear the music come up, and Charlie Dempsey, like it's like he can actually hear it. He's like, every time, why does it happen every time? And every time, when was the last time Bobby Roode was on TV? He's also a producer. But I thought that was kind of cool. And then they kind of Ren said something about Joe Hendry, and Charlie says not to say it, but she says it anyway. And I
believe in Joe Hendry,
and I do too. And Joe Hendry just kind of they kind of pan the camera over. Joe Hendry pops open through a door, not as cooler as a refrigerator, popping out of a refrigerator, but popped out of a door, did his thing.
Or busting through a wall.
Or busting through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man or anything like that. Bobby Roode and Joe Hendry kind of get face to face for a second. And Bobby Roode says, as a former TNA champion, he's proud of Joe Hendry and everything that Joe Hendry's accomplished. But he's rooting for Hendry to be NXT champion down the road. So it's kind of a nice little nod from a former NXT, WWE, TNA talent to a current TNA/WWE talent, I guess. Because I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with Joe Hendry right now. Joe Hendry was shown in the opening video tonight that played alongside Roar the Crowd, like he was a WWE competitor, under WWE contract. So weird, but he was. So it's kind of a nice little nod there. And it's cool to see Bobby Roode back on TV and hear that glorious, even if it was just the glorious, so that was it, wasn't the rest of the music. It's cool to just hear that one more time. But yeah, your thoughts on Bobby Roode showing up and maybe what's next for Joe Hendry, because he's kind of been, he was up in the main event and now he's very mid-card.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the appearances have been cool. They've been funny, but at some point they need to get serious with him, and either get serious with him or do some. Let's do something here. The surprise appearances are cool. They're funny, but Hendry is a great talent. He with all the shenanigans outside the ring, or as Lance Storm used to say, all the offbeat shenanigans outside the ring. He's damn good inside the ring. He's deceptively strong. He's he's a great talent. Let's do something with him here finally. And he could definitely be in the main event. He's good. I mean, he's over big time. He's over huge. Let's do something with him here.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, and this was something that I know Kelly and I had talked about back when Joe Hendry was still TNA champion and all of that. Eventually, the hype is going to die down for Joe Hendry. He was like an internet meme for a little bit. I mean, heck, again, we've talked about it before. His music charted in the UK. It was on the radio. Like, I mean, that's insane to me that, I mean, I don't want to say an indie talent because he was TNA signed at the time, but still a talent that wasn't necessarily in WWE and all of that. His music got so viral it charted. But eventually that hype was going to wind up dying down, and I feel like we're there. It's kind of died down a little bit. I'm still really happy every time Joe Hendry shows up on TV in these weird little segments like this. But I agree with you. He was main event for a while, and now he's kind of pushed down. They need to do something with him. Like they need to capitalize what's left of his hype right now, and kind of utilize him a little bit more than just these one-off segments. Obviously, in wrestling, less is more. So maybe they're kind of treating him as a bit of a special attraction right now, making him show up just when his name is said. He'll get into a feud proper eventually in the near future, hopefully. But yeah, I definitely want to see more for Joe Hendry here in NXT and WWE as a whole.
He's going to start become. I mean, he's going to become a full-fledged comedy act, and people aren't going to take him seriously as a threat to anything at this point.
Yeah,
that's the direction it's heading right now. Unless they ramp this up and do something with him, and quickly.
Yep, for sure. All right, our next segment of the night. Actually, second to last segment of the night. Lexus King comes out. He claims to be the homecoming king, hyping himself up a little bit and all of that. And Finn Balor's music hits. He before Finn Balor's music hits, Lexus King was kind of running down the Black and Gold brand as being overrated and not as good as everybody remembers, and all of that. I don't know if you use the term like nostalgia. What you remember as nostalgia, it might be better than it actually was or whatever, but it was kind of what he was implying. Finn Balor's music hit, and when I say his music hit, I'm talking his music, not his current music, but his old NXT music, which was really, really nice to hear again. I can't even think of what his music sounds like on the main roster. But plus they changed the Judgment Day's music up so much. I don't know if, it might have changed in the last 5 minutes. I don't know.
Very nondescript.
Yeah, right. But really cool to hear that. Finn Balor makes his way down to the ring. And as he's finishing up his entrance, the lights are kind of dim. A figure appears in the ring alongside Lexus King. It's Miles Bourne. Miles Bourne attacks. After he attacks, Lexus King's kind of lying on the mat in the perfect position for a coup de grace, which kind of ended that segment. Bourne, and then Bourne and Lexus King kind of just celebrated, and that was it. I was kind of expecting Finn to maybe pick up the mic or something, but he didn't. Whatever. It was cool to kind of see a babyface Finn Balor here. Finn all over the place. He was on AAA, not that long ago for Worlds Collide. We saw Demon Ito come out again, which was great. Worlds Collide was a fantastic show. If you haven't seen it, it was definitely worth going back and watching it. But yeah, so cool to see Finn Balor giving a rub here to Miles Bourne and Lexus King for that matter. Anything on that segment?
The very first thing that comes to mind is, am I the only person who thought that Lexus King had a flesh-colored bandage right on his forehead? If you look back, am I the only one that thought that thought that?
I don't know if, I didn't think that, but the hairline. I haven't had a hairline in so long. I don't even remember what they call it, the shape up or whatever it's called. Oh God, his hair and his beard, they're just so obnoxious. I love it. It works so well for his character.
It looked to me, I'm like, does he actually have a bandage? I thought he actually had a square flesh colored bandage on it. That's how stark the contrast was with the hairline and the beard and all that, which is, it's been made fun of endlessly by everyone. But Lexus King, I love him as a heel. I mean, he's so obnoxious and he's so unlikable, and you want to see Miles Bourne just beat the living daylights out of him. And when Finn Balor's music hit at first, it had been so long since I heard that at first. I'm like, wow, who is that? And it took me a couple of seconds to register because, and again, talking about interest music, that particular interest music is one of my very favorites. I love that. It's very unique. The fans know who it is the minute the music hits. It was great, as you said, seeing a babyface Finn Balor come out there, and yes, Lexus King did conveniently kind of sort of move over in place for that coup de grace there a little bit. But it was good. It was a good segment. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Always good to see Finn Balor. I'm getting into the Miles Bourne versus Lexus King feud quite a bit.
Yeah, no, me too. I can't wait to see Miles Bourne kick his ass.
I know.
And Lexus can take a good ass kicking. I want to know when he's going to finally win a feud. Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, our last match of the night, Lyra Valkyria, Rhea Ripley, and Stephanie Vaquer took on Fatal Influence, Jasmine Nix, JC Jane, our NXT champion, and Fallon Henley. Fatal Influence basically kind of jumped the faces before the bell. JC Jane immediately taking out Rhea Ripley, throwing her into the ring post and then bashing her off the barricade and all of that outside, kind of taking her out of the match early anyway. Lyra coming in, filling in for Tiffany Stratton, who was the one that was on the show last week, and it was hyped for this match. It looked like I think it was a house show. She might have suffered a concussion or something like that, but she was unable to unfit to perform tonight, as they said online. I don't really know if I can't remember if the announcers even made mention of it or not. I can't remember. But Lyra, Lyra was on fire in the match. I thought, she and Vaquer had some great spots. We saw Rhea Ripley and Stephanie do the Devil's Kiss together, which I thought was kind of a fun little spot. I thought Booker T his head might have exploded.
Has anyone checked on? Have we got any medical updates on Booker T yet?
I haven't heard any. But wow, he went like crazy for that. As did the fans. I mean, it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. Ryan saying that I don't think the announcers brought it up. So all right, there we go. Rhea Rhea hit the Riptide towards the end of the match. to win. After Lola Vice interfered, JC Jane kind of started walking up the ramp, almost like kind of to leave. It almost maybe looked like she was about to leave her team behind or something. Lola Vice comes down and basically is like, nope, you're getting in there, and kind of gets in her face and kind of walks her back down. Then gave her I think it was a chop. It was a chop or a punch or something like that.
Back fist.
Back fist. Thank you. I knew it involved the hand. And it took basically took JC down. JC falls through the ropes because the ramp was not a ramp tonight. It was actually just kind of a flat platform that went straight to the apron. JC falls into the ring. Rhea hits her with one hell of a riptide to win. And baby faces send everybody home happy tonight. Which I thought was great. And then the closing segment of the night was just backstage, Trick and Oba just kind of staring at one another with I think Ava, William Regal, and a couple, was Triple H and Shawn in the back? I forget.
Robert Stone was in there too.
Robert Stone. Okay, I know I remember seeing Ava and Ava and William Regal back there, but basically hyping up the title for title match last week. And that kind of brings us to the end. So yeah, your thoughts on the last match? I know you saw the last match and the closing segment.
Yeah, my power came on just as Alexis King was in the ring. So yeah, I did get to see, and I was confused because I had not heard anything about Tiffany Stratton. So I'm like, what's Valkyria doing out here? But it's perfectly acceptable replacement. I like Myra Valkyria. I think she's really good in the ring. But good way. Obviously, Fatal Influence, they're going to want to get the jump on these vets here, so that made perfect sense. It was a good match. I think it could have. I could have stood for this to have gone for another 5 minutes, actually. And I think the show could have been a good, 2.5 to 3 hour show had they wanted it to be. But that's beside the point. Really good match quality. Fatal Influence, say what you will about them, they do work really well together as a trio. They got some good moves in there. Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix are very good in the ring. JC Jane, she is almost like a female version of Ethan Page, and that you want to see somebody just punch her in the face every time you see her. And she did, in fact, say, because the camera picked her, she said, "No, I've had enough. I'm done. I've had enough." And that's when, of course, Little Vice came out there, and also going back a little bit, did you catch the look on Jasmine Nix's face when Rhea Ripley? I forget what exactly I think I don't know if she slapped her or what, but Rhea, looked at her, and Jasmine Nix, her face just melted. Like,
no, I didn't see that. No.
Oh, she's like, oh no, she knew she screwed up. But that was, and I must admit, the Riptide is not a move that generally impresses me. Usually she doesn't get that much, height on it, but man, did she get this one. This was the best Riptide I've ever seen her execute. And she got a full force, and I mean, she nailed it. And I think it was a great way to close the show. The double Devil's Kiss, the way they set up for that was perfect. Booker T was out there having an aneurysm, or at the very at least a personal moment, and fantastic way to end the show. Great main event. Loved it. Sent everyone home happy. As far as the closing segment with Oban and Williams, I'm looking forward to that match. It's going to be good. I don't think there's any way there's going to be a clean finish in that match. I would bet my next paycheck on that. But I am looking forward to seeing what does happen to cause the match to be a non-finish. Again, I think the best option, have guys like Mike Santana and some of the guys who were openly complaining online about WWE bigfooting them, have them come in there and just like I said, just beat the hell out of everyone in the ring. I think that'd be the best bet. So yeah,
And I
good
think,
good main event, great main
yeah,
event.
yeah. So for me, I think NXT Homecoming gets a thumbs up. As I said to open the show, yeah, it didn't really move a whole lot of stories and things forward. It was mostly a nostalgia show, a homecoming show. Feature of some of the older stars, mixing it up with some of the newer stars. I thought this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed tonight. David, thumbs up, thumbs down in the middle, or thumbs in the middle?
Well, from what I saw, thumbs up. I'm gonna go back here after
That's
we're
true.
done.
That's true.
After we're done, I'm going to go back and actually watch the majority of the show and put the report up as well as I'm doing that. So, yeah, my apologies to everyone for that. But yeah, our
Yeah.
local electric company kind of dropped the ball, and it's not storming here at all or anything. It's just the whole block went
Yeah.
out for some reason. So
And
it's weird.
And David tried to text me to let me know, but his text didn't go through until the power came back on. So I get two texts back to back saying, "Oh, my power went out. I can't do the report." "Hey, my power came back on." And I was like, "Oh, well, crap."
Yeah.
So, oh well, is what it is. But that is going to bring us to the end of our show. NXT Homecoming. I thought this was good. I'm glad everybody enjoyed themselves tonight. I'm Nate Lindberg. You can check the things I do out at natelindberg.com. David, thank you very much for joining me, man.
Thank you, Nate. And I will be putting up that NXT report here as soon as possible. And then I will see you guys tomorrow night for Evolve as well. Don't forget to check that out. Again, that's where you see, some people who are going to be, moving on up to NXT here in the future. Some of the people you'll see in NXT, some of them you'll see at your local National Guard Armory. National Guard Armory there. So, but good stuff there too. Every once in a while, you get some NXT talent coming back on there. We got Brooks Jensen. We got Ridge Holland is on the show now.
I forgot about Ridge Holland.
Yeah. If you want to know where Ridge Holland went to, you can go to Evolve. He's there now. So yeah, check that out as well. And look forward to seeing you guys again here soon. Again, thanks for having me on here.
All right, and normally we leave the show with Horseshoe, but tonight it's Homecoming. We're throwing back. So tonight we're leaving with Blue Pants.